Good evening, chat. Hello. Hope you guys are all doing well. It is Thursday night, so let's get to it again. Episode 204. It's weird saying that, but yes. Yeah, James Reed says, I'm on time. Is Sean Lane gay? No, I was on time too. So Safa out there, chat. It's what you all should do. Was I planning on being 5 minutes late? I had to corral Bonbon. We already have Bonbon back tonight. So I had to corral her up. I was having some problems. So trying to get things all ready to go tomorrow when go pick up 2.0 from the airport. So that's what I was up to. Hope you guys are doing well. An abrupt end. We live in an occupied nation. We are suffering. Oh, we're gonna get to some. Yeah, I mean, like this one is not really gonna be a fun one tonight, guys. Like, I'm sorry, but yeah, this is not gonna be a night where we're like, oh, it's all good and there's white pills and no, this is not one of those nights, chat. This is not one of those nights, sadly. Yeah, don't mean to doom, but yeah, there's a lot of dooming. Just a little bit. Yes, the Dow's over 50,000. Yeah, well, that only gets you so much. That only gets you so much out there, chat. Only gets you so much out there. And why is this not? Oh, here we are. This is what I wanted. And yeah, but anyways, welcome to the show, guys. We are live tonight on Kick. Once again, we're giving Kick another shot. Like I said, I know some people out there like Rumble, but we're trying to give Kick a shot. We're also live on Twitter, so hello Elon and all the Twitter bots. Thank you so much. And last but not least, here on YouTube, Marcus Aurelius, that's a phonetic way of spelling it, says, let's go, baby. Yes. What is the goal to get Bonbon on the Thursday night show clip art? No, we'll work on that. Anyways, we got somebody here because he's like, get this dog away from me. He's like, get Bonbon away from me, god damn it. He's like, just get her away from me. I need 5 minutes. Oh, so anyways, yeah, here we go. So, Clyde, I need to set you down, buddy. You're like wrapped up in all my things here. You want to see Bonbon? I don't know if I'll grab her if she'll let me pick her up. Let me see if I can set Clyde down and trade her out. Problem is, Clyde's trying to get in the way. Bonbon, come here. Bonbon, come here. Like, now she's chasing Clyde around, so I don't know. As soon as you do something, Bonbon starts chasing him around, so I don't know what to do there. Oh, God. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hello. Anyways, we are going to get started here. We're going to give people a couple more minutes to come in. Where's Lainey? Lainey is just being quiet right now. Lainey's being quiet. All right, Clyde, I'll pick you back up. Here. You're just going to hang out. Let's see if we get some subs for Clyde's anxiety. But we're going to go ahead and do that. This house is a circus without her around. Well, yeah, because she's driving the dogs crazy. So let's go. Let's get started here. We're about 5 minutes in. Your owners is fat and non magnifique. Yes. Very funny. Yeah, see. There you go. There's a Bonbon bark. EDW Raptor with 5 subs. Starting out was a big fucking support out there. I got another one. Bart Bella for 5 subs. Gets a. We get. Oh. Well, and we amateur iconoclast. You get for wide sob. Thank you. I don't know if Clyde just like plops over my arm because he wants down or what's he doing here, but okay, I'm gonna have to. Clyde, I gotta sit you down. You're getting too big, buddy. I know. I gotta set you on the ground, butter. All right, guys, it's time to get started. I guess we'll get started with some of the doom pilling out there. You guys may remember this commercial from. From earlier this year. Actually, I forget when it came out, but you guys know what I'm talking about here. It's the low-key attempt at a color revolution. It's the attempts at a color revolution by manipulating popular support. And we do see it here, and we have this one. And this is, if you guys don't remember it, this is an advertisement. Alyssa Slotkin, remember, she is a CIA officer. So she's a glowy by definition, and her job is to, help ferment revolution and other things going on and discontent. And that includes amongst the military to undermine popular support. And along with her, cheering her on is Ruben Garcia, some cocksucker out there. But anyways, this is the ad. If you guys don't remember it, here's what they said.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman.
Remember, Maggie Goodlander is also an intelligence official. She is Jake Sullivan's husband. So why does she need a job? But I guess.
And Jason Crow.
Jason Crow's the guy that cried and cowered like a little girl on January 6th up in the balcony.
Captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans
Yes, by doing this.
trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out.
Notice some of them are saying you can, and then other ones are saying you must. I mean, yes, you should refuse an illegal order, but notice some of them are like, well,
Orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more
no, you don't, because you said when you come back, you're going to fuck over everybody. So you don't have their back.
than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Okay, yeah. And remember, though, the ship is what they want. Remember that. Yeah. Scorches, why did anyone sue over this? So they didn't sue over it. It's a clear First Amendment protections. And yeah, as I said at the time, it is protected. And yes, I know what they're getting at, though. This is the first stages of a color revolution. You try to undermine military support. This is something in the CIA playbook. So yes, it's legal. I know what they're saying. You know what they're saying. And they know that we know what they're saying and what the real goal is. And we know that they know that we know what the goal is, and they still do it anyway. So yes, it is. But they're still scumbag pieces of shit. And as I said, yes, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Now, as I said at the time, it's protected. Boo Killiful says trees is protected. Well, it's one of those times where you're saying something that's actually a correct statement of law. And yeah, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do that. You are allowed to do that, and it's acceptable conduct. You know, once again, it's Fed posting is what they just did. Fed posting. Fed posting. Yes, you can call for violence. You just have to be very careful about how you phrase it. You do. You just have to have it just right. Just right, chat. Just right. So what happened from there? Well, there was an attempt, and I didn't realize this was going. I mean, obviously, when we found out it happened, but the DOJ attempted to indict these cocksuckers, which, yes, I mean, I'd love to see Alyssa Slotkin hang from a fucking gallows at Leavenworth. I'd love to see Mark Kelly hang from the fucking gallows too, but that ain't happening. That ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. But I'd love to see this bitch get her comeuppance. But they tried to indict them, and a grand jury said no. So keep it in mind. This was a federal prosecutors tried and failed to get a criminal indictment against the 6 lawmakers who took part in the video. And it's interesting because it's the latest extraordinary brushback by a grand jury of Washington, D.C. And notice that's the problem here. It was in Washington, D.C. And notice the glowies. They protect each other. I'm sure if they were Republicans and they want to get it, we'd indict that right away. We'd indict that right away. Yes, Adam, is it? So it worked. Well, kind of. And James says, well, grand jury actually said no. In Washington, D.C., the grand juries have routinely said no. And notice now with Letitia James, the grand juries have refused to indict her. There's a lot of jury nullification going on. As I mentioned before, and I've said it repeatedly, these people like the guy who threw a sandwich at the federal agents. I mean, he didn't even get convicted of minor assault. The guy who towed the ICE vehicles in L.A. got acquitted. The guy who ran the vehicles up in Seattle got acquitted, the ICE agents. The guy in Chicago who said, I'm putting out a $10,000 bounty on their heads, he got acquitted. And as I told you, you're probably going to get an acquittal of Don Lemon and all these cocksuckers who are getting charged up in Minnesota. You're going to get a lot of jury nullification there. I mean, and this is where we get to that. We get to this unique thing here in parlance, and it's a neat thing. It's called WROL, without rule of law. And yes, if you're getting to the point where you're going to basically have people, when they carry out political activity that's illegal, it all depends on where you get charged. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of problems here. Is it time yet? Still not, but it's getting late. It's getting late. I say it like that. It's getting late. So, but anyways, they point out that the case was brought up by Janine Pirro. Now, remember, the other problem is this woman's a fucking idiot. So, I mean, there you go. But notice what Alyssa Slotkin is saying here. Today, it was a grand jury of anonymous Americans who upheld the rule of law and determined this case should not proceed. Hopefully, this ends this politicized investigation for good. But today wasn't just an embarrassing day for the administration. It was another sad day for our country. Yes, when we elect fucking glowies to Congress, it's really sad. You conniving slut. You conniving whores, a lot of you. But it's a thing, though. No matter what you do in D.C., it's not going to be allowed. I mean, let's be real. No jury in D.C. Yes, Alyssa Slotkin was a CIA intelligence officer. So was Maggie Goodlander, who is Jake Sullivan's wife. She's in the House of Representatives. Alyssa Slotkin is the senator from Michigan, the junior senator from Michigan. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah. So there you go. And it says the people who briefed on the grand jury were granted anonymity because they weren't authorized to discuss the events publicly. I like how they're like, well, we decided to grant them anonymity. Okay. So they charge them over the videos, and, you know, they went on from here and they show it. But they say the grand jury is made up of local D.C. residents who are all government apparatchiks, have been turning down indictments. But there you go. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And under federal law, to get a grand jury, to get a grand jury indictment under federal law, you need at least 12 people out of 16. You have 16 to 23 people. You need at least 12 to find probable cause to proceed with the charge. And there you go. It's like, that's awesome news, isn't it? That's awesome, 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 awesome news. Oh. Never forget, it's supposed to be Ed Martin is the U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. He was fucking awful too, though. I mean, like, that's the thing I don't think most people are willing to recognize. Most of these, like, U.S. attorneys are just fucking garbage. So I said, everything, Pam Bondi is garbagioso. I mean, you'll have fun with that. You'll have fun with that. You know, like, yeah, I mean, Ed Martin was no better based on what he wanted to do. So I don't know what to tell you guys. Don't know what to tell you guys. Oh. HN says, how's it feel surrounded to be about the Destiny Pixie lawsuit? I mean, does anybody really want to be Destiny at the end of this? Like, oh no, I thought I was texting a 17-year-old. It turns out it was my gooner viewer who was pretending to be a 17-year-old. It's like, you got me, man. You got me. The egg sure is on my face. The egg sure is on my face. I mean, oh no. Oh no. Let's see here. Did Destiny get a W? I mean, not yet, but he did file for summary judgment. But now apparently it turns out the girl wasn't 17. Destiny was sexting with one of his gooner fans who was sharing pictures of a 17-year-old with Destiny that Destiny thought was the girl, but it was like one of his male fans, which is like, wow, that's just levels of gay and cringe all wrapped together. It's like, yeah. That's the real winning move, chat. That's the winning move. Yeah. So, yeah. So, it's fun though. It's fun though. I mean, Destiny can suck whatever wieners he wants to. It's really cringe. It's really cringe and gay to like. I thought I was doing age play questionably with a girl, and it turns out it's one of your like gooner fans. Like, that's just oof. Yeah, that have fun with that. Yeah. Yes, it's very much a Mandy thing. Yeah. It's very much a Mandy thing. Yes. Yes, it's very much a Mandy thing. Brian saying, would a grand jury indict Pam Bondi for crashing out like a high school Becky? Probably. I mean, I didn't even have to watch it. I just watched clips of it. But like, the idea that I guess anybody thought Pam Bondi was going to go in there yesterday and be like, you know, hit a home run. Like, she just stood up there and just like stuck her face out in front of the pitching machine and was just like, wham! And she's like, that sounds like fun. Let's keep doing that. No, I mean, that was an absolutely awful, awful fucking hearing. I don't think, like, if you thought it was going to be good, I don't have to tell you. I told you guys from the start, Pam Bondi is a moron. I don't know. At some point, is she gonna get fired? I hope so, but at the rate it's going, probably not. Probably not. So Pam Bondi should have been fired by lunch. She shouldn't have just been hired in the first place. It probably would have been a lot better. Probably would have been a lot better. So, she got the job because she is incompetent. I understand, but there are far more incompetent people. Like, there are less incompetent people who would still be incompetent who could have done a better job. Well, yeah, she's also a Scientologist, which I didn't know that, and I thought that was a joke at first, but no, she's like, no shit, a socialist, or Scientologist, like socialist. She is a Scientologist, and that's so fucking weird, but what do you know? What do you know, chat? But anyways, there you go. They are not going to get indicted, although I don't know why they did indict them, because it's not, even outside of DC, you could have taken this to, like, somewhere in Oklahoma. Maybe they get indicted, but they would still be able to survive on a First Amendment defense. Getting back to this, I just don't think it would work. Once again, we know what they know. We know what they're doing. We know what they're meaning. But, you know, they're getting to go like, I'm outside the line. And it's like, yeah. Yeah. So there's nothing we could do with that. And it's, yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. Moving on from there, guys, this is some stuff coming out of Colorado where if you live in Colorado or Washington, you need to be ready. You need to be ready here. This is in Colorado. This is a prohibit three-dimensional printing of firearms and components. And it's concerning measures to prohibit the use of 3D printing to manufacture firearms. Oh. This is actually very impressive what they're going to do here. And what it seeks to ban at the end of the day. So this is how the state of Colorado, this is working its way up through, and the Washington one's also in a similar position here. What are they looking to ban at this point? Well, they're looking to ban a lot of things. Yeah, the 3D printers go burr. They do. They do. So it's an act to prohibit the use of three-dimensional printing machines to manufacture firearms. Now, this is as it's introduced, and it may be redefined, but as of right now, hasn't been amended. So what is a three-dimensional printing to mean? Additive and subtractive manufacturing. So not only like a 3D printer, as we know, that squirts it out, but like EDM, electrical discharge machining, where you can basically use electricity to eat through metal, or any other type of printing where it's subtractive on that. But subtractive also can mean, you know, like, does that mean a mill? That's subtractive work. This doesn't apply to an FFL. And it says possessing in circumstances that indicate intent to manufacture a firearm or component in violation of state law. Digital instructions that may be used to print a three-dimensional printer or a computer numerical control CNC milling machine. And that's where you get the subtractions, chat. Because a milling machine obviously doesn't like squirt metal out, but it takes its end mills and bzzz, and cuts holes in a block to produce a firearm or firearm component. So not only that, it's just possessing the intent to distribute digital instructions, chat. So now you're being charged. Now it's a crime to possess ones and zeros. It's a crime to possess computer files like that. That's what they're doing here. That's what they're doing here. It says, a person shall not manufacture or produce a firearm or firearm component by means of three-dimensional printing using a three-dimensional printer, a CNC milling machine, or a similar device. That would also probably go for a lathe as well. Because think about if you're on a lathe, you can't turn down a barrel. Can't do a lot of things, chat. Can't do a lot of things. Yes, being a machinist is going to be very questionable and illegal, possibly. Now, if you violate this, it's a class 1 misdemeanor, except if you do it a second or other times, it's now a felony. Once again, they're saying, but this doesn't apply if you're an FFL. And you know what? You can't possess in circumstances with the intent to manufacture of this section. You can't have the digital instructions, which indicate, as long as you have an intent to manufacture. So if I'm just sitting here and I don't have, well, I have a 3D printer right now, but let's say I didn't have one and I don't have a machine shop in my house, but I have files saved on my computer. Do I have an intent? No. But let's say I talk about it. Well, now I do have an intent. How is that going to work? I don't know. How would you set this? But remember, all it takes for a 3D printer, you take your, well, on mine, because it's not hooked up to a computer, you take your, flash drive and just put it in and click the file out of the drive, and then it prints. So notice what they're doing. It's going to just destroy everything out there. This is what they're doing, chat. This is what they're doing. So now they point out this once again doesn't apply to FFLs. And it says a person shall not offer to sell and shall not distribute by any means, including distribution over the internet, to a person in Colorado who's not an FFL, digital instructions. Okay, but how does that work? Because if I have a website and I just leave it open, how do I make sure people from Colorado don't go there? Are people from would the Colorado government try to arrest me for that? That's a spoiler alert, because we're getting to Fuddbusters in a second. That's kind of an issue here. How does that work? How does that work? Doesn't sound like it's going to work too well. And they point out that if you do this, the first time it's a misdemeanor, once again, second time it's a felony. And it says, what is CNC? It means a computer numerical control milling machine. And digital instructions include computer-aided design files, so CAD. CAD is eventually probably going to have to be registered. Or other code or instructions that are stored and displayed in electronic format. In firearm components mean an unfinished frame or receiver, large capacity magazine, or a rapid fire device. I mean, they say that for right now, but like if I start printing out different parts of a 3D printer, what does that count? Or a rapid fire device, meaning like a Hoffman Tactical Super Safety, for example. Or a, well, not a Yankee Boogle, because that's a machine gun, but some of the FRTs that are out there, you could 3D print. So now we get into what does 3D printing mean? Well, once again, it's additive manufacturing. It also means subtractive manufacturing. And they try to just do that. So that is what's going on in Colorado here. Stacy says, well, what if you're a federal contractor? Those are generally if you're doing federal military contracting, you probably have an FFL. Because really what they would be interested in anyway is probably like automatic weapons. And if you're making gun components, you're going to want to test them on automatic weapons. So you're probably already a type 7, type 2 SOT. So not really. They're generally going to be FFLs. So yeah, that's great news. It's great news. And guess what's happening in Washington? This is actually about to come to the floor of the Washington House. This right here, guys. And this is there we go. I was wondering why I can get rid of that. This is worse. I argue this one's bad too. This one's no better. This one's no better. What are we I saw you guys here. I'll get to all the stuff here in a second. So they're regulating once again 3-dimensional printers, CNC machines, or digital firearm manufacturing code. So once again, having the code alone can be a problem. So it's the new section. And they talk about the legislator finds a production of undetectable and untraceable firearms and firearm components through three-dimensional printing and CNC presents a growing threat to public safety. The legislator further finds to go through all this. So what are they going to do here? They say, unless the text clearly requires otherwise, the definitions apply throughout this. They talk about here, I mean, this is what Washington's doing. They talk about what's an assault weapon mean, and this is all the different types of assault weapons that have been banned in Washington State. Like, they name these all. They name all of these things. And it's funny because you know how many guys own a fucking FAMAS? Like, none. Like, none. That's the funny part with these. Some of these are almost like, some of these are damn near like vaporware guns at this point as they go. And they talk about what's going to be added here. And, you know, it goes through, look at all the stuff they're doing here, guys. Now, here they get to digital firearm manufacturing code. It says digital firearm manufacturing code means any digital instructions in the form of computer-aided design files or other code like G code, or instructions stored and displayed in electronic format as a digital model that may be used to program a three-dimensional printer or a CNC machine. So they're defining it. What does that mean? We have to go further. We have to go further, chat. But look at what they don't want you to have. Like, you're looking at this list, there's nothing here that's going to be good. But now you can't have that stuff. And they point out here, it's unlawful for any person to manufacture, including by use of 3D printer or CNC machine or other means of anything. For any bump fire stock, undetectable firearm, short barrel rifle, shotgun, or short barrel rifle. You know, they're limiting to what you can do here. They're limiting to what you can do. They don't want you to sell anything with these. Which, how does that work? Because I'm allowed to possess the items. And it says here, they're also saying nobody may recklessly allow, facilitate, aid, or abet the manufacture, assembly of an undetectable firearm. Well, what counts as undetectable? Because really, guns aren't undetectable. Like, they don't really work that way. Included by distribution of digital firearm manufacturing code. Once again, if I'm doing that, how does that work? How does that work? Because once again, if I run the internet and I run something called the catalog, how does that work? Let's say I'm just here on YouTube and somebody in chat, I have mods in chat who just keep spamming out the links to 3D printed files and downloadable elements to 3D printed files. Are they in trouble? It's not clear. It's not clear how that's set up. It's not clear how that's set up. You know, once again, they are trying to amend this to ban all of this. You know, it says no person may sell, transfer, distribute, or off-sell digital firearm manufacturing code for a firearm to a person who's not a licensed FFL. Notice before he was just talking about machine guns. Now it's like any guns. Yeah. And notice now they're getting to, now they're talking about buying, selling firearm code for an unfinished frame or a receiver to a person. No, so they're not talking about machine guns anymore, and they're not talking about any of that. Once again, they're talking about manufacturing an unfinished frame or receiver. So there you go. There you go. And they look, every time it's a violation for each and every frame or receiver that you do. So there you go, guys. This is ooh. They aren't fucking around out there, chat. Stay on it. Remember, rust never sleeps and neither do politicians. Stay on top of them. Stay on top of them. Old Head Allen is saying Washington will be sued and they will lose, as is already settled case law. I hope you're correct. I hope you're correct. I don't have much faith in the Ninth Circuit. I certainly don't have faith in Washington state courts, so good luck out there. That's all I can tell you guys. Shido Buboo says, Boo Boo says, who wrote this Glock? Yes. Dauber says, isn't code free speech? Yes. Ones and zeros are inherently free speech. Having digital code. You know, for example, you can buy the plans or you can go online and download plans for the Ludi submachine gun. It's legal to possess. It's legal to possess the Anarchist Cookbook or the Special Forces Explosive Manual because you're allowed to have it because you're allowed to have it. At least here in America. If you live in some shithole countries, probably not. Old Allen says it will go to SCOTUS. Are you sure about that? Look at all the firearms cases SCOTUS has shot down. Even the good ones like Snope v. Brown out of Maryland, like you put your faith in princes, and you should not be putting your faith in princes, man. So, yes, America free speech is only for the production of pornography, not for criticizing Israel or distributing firearms. Yes. That is correct. And Kitchen Knife Rescue, good to see you, man. Says yes. Didn't the gentleman who got sent to prison for the big business cards recently get out of prison lately? Yes. Matt Hoover from CRS Firearms has been released. He's been out for a little while now. I think I mentioned it, but if I haven't, welcome home, Matt. You shouldn't have been gone in the first place, but I'm glad you're out there. EDW. Sorry, I was trying to read that. Where Tiger Ray, so is this like if they aren't banning the Anarchist Cookbook, but they are banning the ability to print it? No, I mean, no, because they're banning even having the files for it at this point. So, you once again, the banning is DOA. I mean, I don't know. The NRA said it's it's on Rule 2, meaning it can be brought to a House vote at any time. So, just going off what the NRA's Institute of Legislative Action commented. So, yeah. AP says you can't regulate personal knowledge of how a mechanism works. Yes, but you won't be able to teach. They would forbid that as part of it. And if you wrote it down, you have now written down plans. Well, yes. Also, yes, the Anarchist Cookbook is meant for you to hurt yourself. Yes, don't use that. Use the Special Forces Improvised Manual. But anyways, yes. Good luck out there to Washington and Colorado. If you guys live out there, do what you can. And Territory says, what's next? A ban on owning lathes and mill machines from the 20s and 30s? I mean, yeah. I mean, give it time. Give it time because it's easy to stop the computer stuff. But yeah, eventually you're going to need a lathe to make a barrel. It's gone. It's going to be regulated. But yeah, you ask it unironically, but yes. So. And Old Head Allen, I get it. You're talking about HB 2321. I'm talking about House Bill I'm talking about this one. 2320. There are multiple bills. We're talking about multiple things here. Well, AP says I don't have to write it down. I have it memorized, but you're going to have to write it down for people to learn and protect knowledge. Let's see here. Let's see here. What did I miss? Yeah, you can make a EDM machine that will wire and have a high voltage generator. Yeah. Yep. And with an EDM machine, you could do improvised rifling into a barrel that's been bored out. It's actually something you could do. You can make rifling. It's primitive, but it works decent enough. Like you're not competing at a 1,000-yard match with it, but it'll work within 50 yards at least. But yes, you can make rifling now. So yes, some printers like Bamboo's can and will narc on you if you're not careful. Interesting. So yeah. But good luck out there. Now, moving on from that, chat. We kind of touched on it. And real quick, though, we got some stuff we got to get to here. EDW Raptor says, when they say don't give up the ship, do you mean the sovereign citizens had it right the whole time? Oh, no. Don't let them know that. Don't let the sovereign citizens hear that. Like, don't say that in front of them. You'll give them ideas. Jesus loves you. Says, is it time to use lampposts for their secondary purposes? It's not a bad idea to go get buy a couple lengths of rope from Home Depot. That's not a bad idea. James gifting 5 subs. And then Stephen Cooper gifting 5, 10. And just 10 subs. And then Unhung Hero for 10 more subs. Let's fucking go tonight, chat. Remember, when you get those subs, you are helping keep America green, and you are praying the gray away. Then Salvatore says, there's something I don't get about January 6th. Why am I, a working gas guy, supposed to have felt sorry for a bunch of 1%ers who are literally mobsters? I mean, that's not wrong. The Radcon Hazard said the only former military officers that might have any consequence at stick, and even that might not work from what I'm seeing. Yes. Well, even that case, the case of Mark Kelly, that actually got tossed. Court dismissed it just today. So even if they try to appeal, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Once again, it was within the First Amendment. Is it clearly, though, we knew what the fuck they're doing? Yes, but that's not enough. That's not enough to do anything about. Hey, Gooter says they're trying to stoke a full-scale war. It isn't even subtle anymore. Very true. Very true. Very, very true. They are trying, remember, when you look at the pyramid for insurgency, we're very close to the breaching the underground, above ground barrier. And then Elite Neo for $20. Thank you. $20, chat. What did I just kick? Oh, I was wondering what the hell I just kicked around. It says, Hail Sean. Was refreshing to see you on Newscast last night. Raptor needs to have you on more often. Of course. Well, I like Wiggles my boy, and yeah, I'll come on with Lord Raptor. Plus War Campaign is having good legal counsel at the ready. As Raptor would say, good. Yes. The guys don't know, yes, RIP to Trashcast and Comicsgate. They just took a big fat fucking L lately. They couldn't beat the Black Comics, man. It's like, yeah, there you go. And the Black Comics, man. And take the knee. Axe says that Tism last night is weird. Yeah, but those are they're cool guys. Like I said, me and Wiggle, Outer Pangea, we go back a ways. So it's actually interesting. I didn't know he had a YouTube channel. And it's interesting that he's involved in all this, like from the start. J-Rock for 29 months. Also, J-Rock, I don't know if you were here, but your poster, we did open it. I got to find a frame for it now. So we're going to work on that. Remember, for 29 months, says N. Shree, who's been a member for 25 months, says I don't know what we're doing here, but Amateur Iconoclast for $2 says G. Okay. Alaskan M. It's been here for 8 months, says G. Malcolm Coles has been here for 22 months, says the Washington legislators are enthusiastic GNAA members. Oof. And then Malcolm Combs for $5 says, hopefully Washington can hold off shitting up absolutely everything for a touch longer so I can head up to Texas. Well, good luck, man. Hope you get out of there. Hope you get out of there in time. I don't know what you guys are trying to spell. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it, chat. You think me and Wiggle are feds? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. All right, guys. So now moving on to here, we have yes, Stabby, how does it feel to be felted by your own Discord? Yeah, that was a little fucking weird. Being in the whole Smash JT thing. Like, I gotta send Ron Coleman like a DM, be like, hey, that's not me. It was one of the goobers in my Discord. Like, and I don't think they recorded it, so. So anyways, chat, we're going to move on here. This is affecting somebody. You guys may not like him, and I get that, but this is serious business, and I do like him. So this matters to me. If you guys notice up here at the top, well, it starts off with kind of like, ooh, some names of people, a big name of a person we don't, have much to care for. Rob Bonta, the Attorney General of California. So what's he on this paper for? Ron Coleman's coming for me. Oh. As we go here, it is now in the Superior Court of the state of California. So state courts, not federal court. I don't know what this means. This is just kind of funny. Unlimited jurisdiction. Does that mean to the moon? Like, how far is unlimited? It means everywhere. But what do you see? It's a complaint for permanent injunction and civil penalties. Against who? The Catalog Foundation, Control Pew. And then who do we see? Alexander Holiday, who runs Control Pew. And then Matthew LaRosiere, also known as Fuddbusters. And then John Ellick, also known as Ivan the Troll, the Spinning Rat. Then Doe's 1 through 100. You know who I really think, who's going to probably not be on this list? He's probably not going to be on this. Cody fucking Wilson, because I bet he snitched him out. So what are they doing here? Well, notice it's also the state of California, the city of San Francisco, and the city of San Francisco has sued firearms companies and distributors before. There's a famous one in Ohio called Copes Distributing. They got sued by the state of California for they got sued really fucking hard because they were selling magazines, and people in in California, they sued over this shit. But yes, they were called Copes Distributing. I understand you guys may laugh at that, but they were called that. The dogs are playing. The dogs are playing. It's so cute. Sorry. You guys remember Matt is Fuddbusters. You may know him as Fuddbusters This Week in Guns. Been on the show a couple of times. Friend of the show. Friend of the channel. Friend of mine. Hopefully friend of yours. Also, chat, if you do, remember, you can also find them at MAF Corporation at MAF-arms.com. Use a promo code PODCRIM for 10% off all your wind chimes and wind chime accessories. So we'll get that plug in while we're at it, while it's still good. Get that plug in here. So what is this? Well, the funny thing is, this is an action against the Catalog Foundation, Control Pew, Holiday, Fuddbusters, and Ivan. And why? Because they were unlawfully distributing computer code for 3D printing firearms and prohibited firearms accessories for the purpose of facilitating the unlawful manufacture of 3D printed firearms. So notice, they're not like, well, did they come there to do it? No. And also remember, Matt, is part of his lawsuit dealing with Cody Wilson, his firearm files are part of the Library of Congress now. They're fully registered copyrights. So people are accessing them through the Library of Congress. Is he now in trouble for that? Is he in trouble for that? Now they point out, yes, California's had a lot of problems from the proliferation of unserialized, untraceable, and unsafe firearms. How are they unsafe? That's the thing here. How did they become unsafe? How did they become unsafe? Multi-Chick says, look, a pew like in a church. Yes. Thank you. Yes, but I've never heard of I've never heard of 3D printed guns being that dangerous. If you're designing one and testing it, yeah, it could explode on you, but most of the ones that get put out there are actually pretty safe. Commonly called ghost guns. Woo! Spooky. Woo. And while we're at it, hold on, chat. We need to have our if we're gonna do ghost guns, we need to have the going back from the Halloween. Yes, we need to have the ghost gun streams. Woo! Spooky ghost guns. Woo! So spooky. So spooky. Right behind me. It's a right there, chat. That's a ghost gun. Oh no! Woo! Look, it's a ghost gun. So spooky. So spooky. So spooky, chat. Just be careful, chat. Be careful. It's a scary, scary ghost gun. Where is this not? No, I don't want this and this. Whatever. We're going to make it work. So they point out 3D printed guns are a growing subset of ghost guns in California. Okay. They can be assembled in less than a day, based. California has responded with laws prohibiting 3D printing firearms. When you can't do it without a license as a manufacturer, since 2023, you have prohibited the distribution of printing code for printing them to those without a license. So those of you out there saying oh, well, this law's not going to work. There are a bunch of these laws that have survived scrutiny and appear to have worked. So, I understand, people are well, that's not legal. The courts have not agreed with you, man. The courts have not agreed with you on that one. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. So, and I say, as of January 1st, it's also unlawful to knowingly, willfully, or recklessly aid or facilitate the unlawful manufacture. And it says, they point out the defendants ignore these by making computer code and instructions, producing over 150 designs of lethal firearms and prohibited access accessories available to anyone with access to the internet, including California. Notice that's their problem. That's the problem here. They put them up somewhere. They didn't come to California. They didn't hand them out. They're just on the internet. And they do this through the defendants conduct their illegal activities through the two websites they own, the Catalog and Control Pew. And it's funny, because Matt talked about this when he's been on talking about the lawsuits. The Catalog is like the Catalog Foundation, like literally he was going to do stuff with it, but never ended up doing anything. So it's basically an entity with no assets. So it's like, oh, just let it die. Just let it die. It's actually not really that dangerous there. And they say to subsidize their operations, they sell merchandise related to 3D printed firearms and solicit donations. Yeah. Yeah, they're also on Odyssey based, and that's true, guys. If you didn't know, Odyssey, the like video website, is also a file sharing platform. A lot of 3D printing guns are released on Odyssey. So now from here, the threat posed by the conduct is very real. As part of their investigation, they used the defendant's code to build a fully functioning Glock-style handgun. So they broke the law, but because of the government, I guess they're allowed to break the law. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? And it says the people download the code and instructions necessary for building this deadly weapon with a few simple keystrokes. The download was performed from a computer in San Francisco with a California-based IP address. They bring this action to stop the defense from continuing the spread of unlawfully printed firearms into California. Okay. Okay, so parties, yeah, we know the California's a bunch of assholes. They talk about the Catalog Foundation as a Florida corporation with its principal base in Orlando. Catalog Foundation was formed in 2021. From 2019 to 2021, the company was known as Deterrence Dispensed, an unincorporated corporation. Control Pew is a Florida LLC with its principal place in Orlando. It was formed in Iowa. It's been in Florida since 2023, or also known as La Floride. They talk about, Holiday is a principal of the Catalog Foundation and Control Pew. He the treasurer. Brilliant fucking English there. He's the manager and treasurer, registered agent. Matt LaRosiere is an individual and the president and registered agent of the Catalog Foundation. And then Ivan is the director of the Catalog Foundation. He operates under the alias Ivan the Troll. Yes, or Navigo Boomhandia. Yeah, he has a lot of names. He does a lot of things here. Rob Bont is a foreigner. He doesn't believe in English. Really? Huh. Interesting. Say, plaintiff is not aware of the true names and capacities of the defendant's suit here in his does, and therefore sues these defendants by such fictitious names, as each one is named as some. They're using all the fictitious names, like, of all the people that are in, like, the Fuddbusters Discord, or involved with the Catalog, or involved in the Rocket Chats. Holy shit, there's going to be some awesome fucking names out there that are going to get fucking... It's like when Ethan Klein was screenshotting the farms for, like, the comments and the names people have on the farms. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. It's too good. It's too good, chat. It's too good. But yes, all these people here, and so they point out that how they set up the parties here. They say at all times each defendant knew or realized or should have known they were engaging in violations of law. Well, how would they have known? They also make allegations that they're alter egos of each other, meaning you are your company, that's not you. Oh, Maddie, what's going on? Let me know what the hell's going on, because I don't understand what's going on. And there's a unity of interest and ownership between and among the defendants. So yeah, and it means they're not really separate. Like, he can't say, I'm not the catalog. You are the catalog. I'm not control poo. You are control poo. So they talk about the jurisdiction here. Well, it's interesting, the jurisdiction. Because this is one of those ones where it's like the internet doesn't just automatically give you jurisdiction here. It doesn't work that way. And it says the court has jurisdiction over defendants because the defendants availed themselves of the benefits and protection of California by distributing firearm manufacturer code. So, Okay, that's interesting. Oh, we had a retard problem. So, good. You guys know how to handle that. But yeah, this is the jurisdiction they're setting up, though. Basically, because it's on the internet. That's like the whole arguments of like, if you say something on YouTube, like, can you be sued in other places? It's like, well, I've never been to that state, but the internet comes here. It's like, that doesn't work otherwise. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. What are you talking about? Fail to hold the defendants liable for the wrongful acts would lead to an inequitable and unjust result. Well, womp, womp, womp. They caused or caused to be distributed digital firearm action code into California on unauthorized individuals. How? How do they know? It's not their job to check. They have never been to California. They've never been to California. Like, how does that work? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. So, that's interesting. That is interesting here. So they point out the court's original jurisdiction. I don't understand this. How they availed themselves? Well, they distributed firearm data into California. How? How? Like, there's no way to sort that out. There's no way to sort that out. Scheffling's beer says, staying up for the Buckeye Jew tonight, was about to go to sleep. Who's the Buckeye Jew? I'm not Jewish, so I don't know who you're talking about. And they point out, they talk about selling firearms code aimed at users in California, and they sold associated merchandise. Selling merchandise to a California audience, like, you know, soliciting accepting donations from California. I just don't see how this, I don't see how this works. I don't see how this is enough. But as they point out, ghost guns evade state and federal gun laws. I mean, to an extent, yes. And yes, it's cool if you use the Yankee Boogle. It does turn out to print and make you a full. It's an auto sear. So they point out that, you know, under federal and state law, there are various point of sale requirements, background checks, serialization requirements to ensure firearms are traceable by law enforcement, which doesn't do anything. It's not essential to solving gun-related crimes. Having the serial numbers doesn't do anything. Really doesn't do anything. Serialization of guns is a byproduct of the Industrial Revolution in modernization and quality control. That's what serialization came from. That's why guns were serialized before laws required it. That's why before 1968, guns were still serialized, even though they didn't have to under law, because serializing firearms and devices and equipment is a standard manufacturing technique to ensure quality control. Serialization has nothing to do with law enforcement. That was never why it was done. It's never why it was done. Mercury in the Gatorade sounds. Mercury in everyone's Gatorade sounds like astrology. Yes. I've never heard it that way, but they talking about ghost guns bypass the process. Woo, spooky. Because they're not serialized, ghost guns are untraceable by law enforcement. Based. And because they're manufactured privately, they bypass critical safety safeguards like background checks. Based. In this way, ghost guns unlawfully circumvent traditional gun control measures. Based. Awesome. That's what we want, chat. It is awesome to see that happen. It is perfect. It's perfect.
Was this story based? Yes.
Absolutely based. So they go on to talk about what ghost guns are done here. We already understand ghost guns enough. They talk about digital firearm code files. Yeah, they're involved in all of that. Blah, 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 blah. They say widely available consumer grade 3D printers can print parts. Yeah. Like my any cubic before it blew itself up. I printed Glock frames on it. A single spool PLA plus polymer filament, for example. You don't even need that. You just need like high-speed PLA and you can make Glock frames. And then, it costs $20 to $30 for the filament. Can be sufficient to print multiple firearm components. By way of comparison, typical Glock handgun retails around for $500 or more. But remember, for a Glock, you still have to have a slide, a barrel, and, an entire upper slide put together. You can't just 3D print the whole fucking thing. So it just doesn't work that way. It says the software need to operate printers called a slicer, just like slicing bread so you can make sandwiches, are available for free online. The only other item necessary to 3D print is the digital code for the printer. Also, chat, as people were originally trying to do 3D printers, but they were very expensive, the axes you need for the 3D printer heads and stuff, you could get off of laser jet printers. It used to be that way, but just something to think about. There are ways. Back in the old ways of doing it. And they say, as discussed below, the catalog made code files for over 150 3D printed guns and prohibited accessories available for anyone on the internet. The codes also accompanied instructions on how to print them and assemble them. Based. Very true. Very good and based. Absolutely great. Oh, and it says the 3D printer, and they talk about how a 3D printer works. You download the digital code and open it up in Slicer. After the parameters are set up, the Slicer code takes the file and turns it into G code. And then the 3D printer then deploys layer upon layer of molten polymer filament. It's goo, chat, onto the print bed and pattern specified by the code. As the plastic cools, it hardens, creating the final 3D printed firearm or accessory. Yes, chat. It's all goo. It's all goo. You can't eat the goo, though, chat. Do not eat this goo. Do not eat this goo, even though it's not Aaron's goo either. Do not eat the goo. I can't encourage you to eat the goo. It's never a good idea to eat the goo. Molten is a bit of a stretch, yeah, but it's extremely hot. Extremely hot. Where's Taco Supreme when you need an expert? Yeah. P-Dub says, what about a G series foul? Huh. I don't know. What do you mean by that? So I could print a G46. I mean, you could print a lot of damn things. Like there are 40mm launcher instructions online. None of this would have saved Shinzo Abe. Correct. And they say through this process, you could quickly, relatively expensively, and easily produce a frame without a serial number. Based. And they say real-world shootings underscore how these files online become functional weapons. The release of a viral 3D printed pistol design, first released by Deterrence Suspense. Yes, and I believe it's Chairman Wan. I think that's actually what I have up right here on the Glock right now is one of the Chairman Wan Glock 17 frames. I think it was his that Luigi printed out. The predecessor to the catalog resulted in one of the highest profile shootings to date. The United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson got assassinated. And they say it also allows people to produce dangerous firearm accessories that can be inserted. For example, machine gun conversion devices, such as autoseers. Yep, you can use an autoseer, chat. Remember, the Yankee Boogle does exist. There are other different auto drop-in sears you can have that are out there that work. Large capacity magazines, which in California is anything more than 10 rounds. Suppressors, yes, guys. PLA Boy has released a bunch of 3D printed suppressors, since the whole gutting of the NFA tax requirements has fallen apart. Multi-bullet trigger activators, which are like force reset triggers. They say, indeed, these accessories are generally simple devices that are even more straightforward to print and assemble in a firearm. Yes. Like, even the Yankee Boogles, chat, like, you can put them in a slicer and at, like, 100% infill and everything. Even a Yankee Boogle, which won't last forever, it's, like, maybe at slow mode, like, 9 minutes. And you've got you got an auto sear ready to go. But yes, even your switchies out there, chat. And they say these pose a threat to safety. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. And they point out a guy in San Francisco was selling 6 years in prison for selling ghost guns out of his home to drug dealers. Ooh, no. Oh, no. Ooh, spooky. So what did Matt and these guys actually do? What did these guys actually do? So they have 3D printed files for everything, for auto sears, magazines, suppressors, and various accessories. And they sell merchandise, take donations, maintain affiliate links, and sell firearm parts kits designed to complete 3D printed firearms. Yeah, like the Hitchhiker. You can get it for the Hitchhiker. Like, I still need to, and as I'm sitting here looking at it, put the motherfucker together. I really need to do that and go to the range with it. They talk about the catalog's website. The catalog website is simple. It is. It's a simple website for simple people. Yes, Matt had a Discord channel called Wiggertown, and that is why California is mad. It's upsetting diversity. Yes. Territory says the drawings for 1911 public domain. Yes. I believe the technical data package is out there if you want to look for it. So. Anyways, the homepage contains a website header and 10 different links. Each link correlates a category of files for 3D printing. For example, printable frames and receivers. Also, guys, it's at thegatalog.com. You can go there. Below is a snapshot of the catalog. Yes. Yes! So what do? They take you to Odyssey. In Odyssey is where you download everything from. So what do they show you here? The catalog website in their court, they show the profiles match up on what they want to offer and how this goes along. They also have some goofy stuff if you want the comical creations. There are some silly things there. There are some silly things there. So If you want to go and see it, you can be a silly Billy. You get some funny stuff. They say in addition to the shared profile names, each Odyssey profile contains a catalog logo. And on each page where the files are made available, the name of the design is introduced to the logo, and the catalog presents. The files on Odyssey are free and can be downloaded simply by clicking a download button. I mean, if this is the case, Cody Wilson better be fucked too. They better be suing Cody Wilson. I have a feeling they're not doing that. I wonder why. It's like somebody might be fucking around behind our backs. Cody Wilson as a Fed handler, he's off limits. I know. They say nothing prevents these files from being downloaded in California, nor is there anything on the file pages requiring a user to demonstrate he possesses valid state and federal firearms licenses. As they set down below, an analyst from the California AG's office was able to download the files without issue. Good! Based! Download them all! VTubing enthusiast says, just got here. Are you wearing pants? I mean, maybe. I had to do that a little hesitantly, but yeah, maybe. Oh, and they say these zip folders include instructions for using the CAD files to print the design. Many of the zip folders also contain instructions how to combine 3D printing components with other parts. Whether store-bought or self-manufactured, produce operational firearms. Yeah, so if you guys find anything, if you're like the grenade launcher thing I'm working on from the Aussie guys, it's like you gotta go in like McMaster-Carr and download a million or buy a million fucking things, bolts and screws for it. So they point out that they strictly control the files through the catalog website and the Odyssey profiles. And it says, while defendants make available beta program for users to share and test their code files, they make it clear they will only distribute the final single released and proven package of files. It contain third-party verified models of documentation containing thorough build details and instructions, which is based. That way you can make sure you're not downloading garbage. It's very, very important. Hi, Hella. What are you talking about here? Andrea, let's see here. Oh, yeah, the Brian Koberger stuff, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And they say the defendants make it clear their goal is to ensure that only the final verified files live forever. So when some random, completely disconnected person finds the files, they're able to construct them successfully. And that's good. That's what you need. We need verified things. Sorry, chat. Bon turned into a cat and hopped in a box. It's like the cat trap caught a dog. They talk about the Odyssey files here. The mass majority are 3D printed firearm models are available through the frames or printed receivers. This is below is a snapshot of what you can get. You can do different guns as they want to do. You can do some of these are funny, like the OK Zoomer. There's the Dissident, which is also one I think would be kind of fun to build. There's the Mac with the super safety system, which basically take like a Mac 10 upper and you can put it in there. The Kung Pao, I've heard this. I have not tried it, but I've heard it's funny. But they point out here that one of the printed frame designs is the FMDA DD 19.2. It's a gun designed based on the Glock 19 model handgun. A version of it was used in killing of the United Healthcare CEO in December 2024. Really? I thought it was a Glock 17. Below is a snapshot of the posting on the catalog's profile. Yes, look at all them colors, chat. Look at all them colors. So we'll move on from there. They point out, though, it's on here at the catalog presents. The digital code is accompanied by a README file, which is always very helpful. Recommends 3D printer settings you should use. And notes that the provided files are oriented and scaled properly, which means you don't have to mess with it. There are times where if you download files, you have to resize them or anything. No. When you get stuff off the catalog in a lot of 3D places, it's good to go. You literally just plug and play, which is the way it should be. So, and they talk about another one of these frames is the CAG 19, described as the California compliant Glock 19 based carbine kit. They say it's specifically directed to California residents. And, the instructions state the design is legal in California. But they point out, however, printing such 3D firearms on a manufacturer's license is illegal under California law. And they point out that they have fully printed projects, which are firearms designed of most of their product or parts produced through a 3D printer. And those are done in the hybrid designs. Yeah. There are some of them. One of the hybrid designs is the FGC9, which stands for fuck gun control. And it's chambered in 9mm. And it says the FGC9 has been linked to violent criminals and extremists. You mean like the rebels in Burma who are fighting the Chinese-backed government? I mean, a lot of people have used the FGC9s. A lot of people have used the FGC9s. They're based. Long live Jay Stark. May his name go on forever in the pages of history for giving us the guns here. Hold on here. What? Kia Pats, you need special directions for California residents because our laws are so gay. We can't have the normal guns everybody else has. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. That's very true. That's very true. Can you please explain who Cody Wilson is? Yes, Cody Wilson is the kind of like, I know that the people who are involved in firearms printing and 3D printing are going to get mad when I say it like this, but to the normies of the rest of the world, Cody Wilson is the guy who back in like 2000, like it was 8, was kind of like considered, at least to like the normies, to be like the first prominent person. Like he made news, the Liberator, the 3D printed gun design. That was almost all 3D printed except for like the firing pin. And I think a couple other parts. But I think even that one had a 3D printed barrel. But he started that. Like he was the person like that became the face of the movement. And then Cody Wilson got caught twice and pled out twice to being involved with underage chicks. So it's like, that's a great win. So that's who Chody Wilson is. And Chody Wilson is now a Fed. He is suing he has tried to fuck with Fuddbusters and Ivan by stealing their designs that are made for free and charging people to release them to them on his own website. Matt has sued him for copyright infringement. And Cody is countersued and caused all kinds of gay problems for Matt and Ivan that have still not been resolved. And notice here's some base comments. As defendants claim on the Control Pew website, by owning an untraceable firearm, individuals can have a veto power on par with their government. Based! That is a based comment. Base comment. Yes, what is he? He's a pedophile! Oh. But no, he really did. He did get arrested and fled out to, stuff involving underage, stuff. And, did a little bit of time for that. I think just a short little bit, but he's mainly been under Fed supervision. So they point out you can also become ungovernable, which is true. Become ungovernable. There's also a 110-page guide that gives recommended settings for slicer software and a timetable for how much time is expected to take and how much material it will use. Yeah. They talk about other 3D printed accessories. Pled out, but not bled out. Oh. Ew. Ew. Whoa, Joe. Whoa. I'm just kidding. It's good to see you. Careful, don't let Vito hear you. He'll come running. And they also point out they make firearms code for a dozen things, including auto sears, magazines, and suppressors. And they say that through this, you can get designs for an auto sear. There's also one called the Make Glocks Full Auto Glock Auto Sear, which is a 3D printed switchy. And we'll give you a switchy. They're not as robust as normal, like actual metal switchy, but they will work.
Switchy. No talk. No cap. No talk.
Yes, no cap, chat. No cap, as they say on the streets. They talk about also another example, and I'm glad they talked about the Yankee Boogle 3D printed AR-15 auto mod. Yes, it's also known as a Swift Link. It'll turn any AR into it's an auto sear for any AR-15. You don't have to have a cut in the receiver for it. You literally can just print it and it will click in. And it works. It works. Chitin says, you mean coat hangers? No. You will coat hangers too, but you can also print it. You can also print it. Let's see here. Yes, it's a robust urban lead flavor. Oh. Stephen Cooper says, I don't know if you saw in Discord, but my Inox Beretta got back today. I didn't get the magazine back, but I did get a threaded barrel for it. So, kind of win. Well, there you go. Awesome. No, I didn't see. Hold on here. Let me see here. Oh, I didn't see you send this yet. Oh, that's based. There you go. There you go. That's awesome. And you have an evidence box now to go along with it. I would keep the evidence box for shits and giggles forever. Like, I would take that to the range in the evidence box. Where's your gun case? Oh, I got it right here. And you slap an evidence box up on the counter. That would be so funny. Oh, but thank you, Stephen, for your support. I appreciate it. Oh, my gosh. They talk about making the Glocks full of Glock Auto Sear. The Auto Sear is in orange. There she blows. I have looked at it. It does work, chat. It is a workable thing. They also point out the large capacity magazines like the Menendez magazine pack, which is good. It works, chat. I have made them. I've only made the 17 and 25 rounders. I did not make the 30 round magazines, but they work. And it's named after Senator Menendez. Well, now the ex-Senator Menendez. These magazines designs are attributed to Ivan, the alias of defendant John Ehrlich. They also talk about the suppressors. These include, for example, the KCAD printed suppressor pack, which includes different suppressors for different weapons, which is how you should do it. So they talk about a snapshot of things here. And yes, 3D printed suppressors, chat. They exist. So they talk about in 2024, an analyst from the California Attorney General's office went online with a California-based IP address and visited each of the linked catalog profiles on Odyssey. The analyst was able to download all files, which included over 200 different files. And then on March 6, 2025, the analyst returned and downloaded files for new designs that had been posted. On January 7th, the analyst returned to the website once more and downloaded all the files available. This time was over 240. Duh, Da. Da. Oh. And then by using one of these files, and they did the DD 19.2, the people, meaning the state, the government, 3D printed and assembled a functional firearm. By utilizing the code, they did it. The people printed 3 frames. Each print took about 7.5 hours. That's roughly about how long it takes me to 3D print a Glock frame. Like, I can leave for the morning, turn it on, leave for the morning, and come back, and it's done or close to done. So what did they do? Well, they went ahead and tried to do this. Then they showed assembly instructions to do all this. And then in about 8.5 hours, or about a business day, they produced a ghost gun. Woo, spooky. So fucking spooky. Such garbage. And they talk about Control Pew. Control Pew does a very similar thing here with different stuff to release. And you can always go from there. You know, once you're at a file drop page, you click a green button that says download here or download from the catalog. And they're taken to the corresponding download page. So you don't really have to go anywhere. Like, it works all over the internet, chat. It's just floating through the air. So they talk about how to get started or start 3D printing quickly. Tells people how to get stuff. It tells them how to do everything. Oh, and here we go. Control Pew websites direct users to MAF Corporation and provides a discount to purchase firearm kits. Use promo code BOCRIM for 10% off. Store-wide. It says MAF Corp is also featured in a Getting Started guide. Yes, because the wind chimes can be used to help you start something once it's all printed up. It's kind of what they're just, it's kind of how they're designed. So, Control Pew directs its services to California residents. Do they really? Control Pew sells merchandise directed to California residents, including a warning sticker in the form of a yellow hazard triangle that states "not for making guns." And they say this sticker is timely given the California legislation that prohibits sale or transfer of 3D machinery. And it says, so you'll not only be making a statement about firearm safety, but you'll be showing your support. Control Pew also sells a sticker for 10 rounds only that mocks California's restrictions to large capacity magazines. And I have a couple of those. They're fucking hilarious. I love them. I have like 1 or 2 of those. I actually have 2 of those. And I put them on my Glock 30 rounders. I think they just look fucking hilarious. Why is this not? Yes, use promo code POCCRIM. Well, and here you go. Here's the funny stuff. Like the stickers they have, like, you wouldn't download a gun. It's like, yes, I would. I like this one that don't tell on me. There's so many funny kinds of things here. With other stickers, though, we'll get to other stickers here. There are some funnier ones. Like, I like this one here. This is very, very, very funny. I do like how this one's. Here we go. I like this where it's like, attention, 10 rounds only. Do not overfill. And I think that's very, 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 very important. Don't fill it more than that. Mine's a little different on the side of my Glock magazine, but I think it's very, very important, though. Don't overload it there. It's dangerous. You just can't do that, chat. It's not safe. It's not safe. Yes, use promo code POCCRIM at maf-arms.com. You know, gotta help the buster of the Fuds, because they're not gonna help him. Fuds ain't gonna help him, chat. The Fuds ain't gonna help him. These lawsuits are pushing back functional replicators. Yes. Yes, there's that too. There's that too. Kitan says, my SIG mags don't have dates on them, so they can wink, wink, work in Washington, wink, wink. We have to be careful because there may be internal revisions that were done and you won't know the difference, but the industry does, and they can figure out like all your stuff. I would just be very careful about that. Oh, here we go. Yes, I did find the ones that I use. These are the ones that I have on my Glock magazines right here, guys. Sorry. These are the ones that I have up. Attention, 10 rounds only, do not overfill. And I do. I think it's very good. It tells people I want to be safe. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody. And it says the stated purpose of the defendant's operations is to circumvent firearms regulations. Control Pew sells merchandise saying, go and make it, print one of everything, laugh on the grave of gun control, and fuck gun control. I agree with that. I agree with that fucking entirely. Fuck gun control. Fuck it. When you yawn in the wrong time zone, I get tired. Oh. When they talk about the individual activities, remember, they're corporate entities, so they're saying that those have been all pierced. First cause of action, just why can't you control enter this? That should be on its own page. So what do they do? Well, there's a civil action being brought against a person who's distributing the digital firearm manufacturing codes. And notice there's a second cause of action, the civil code. So what are they saying? Civil actions can be brought against anyone who helps engage in the unlawful manufacture of firearms. So it's a third cause of action. Violation of business and professionals code. I don't see how that works here. But they distributed or caused to distribute firearm manufacturing code to people here. They aided and embedded or promoted or facilitated the same thing. So what do they want here? They want all these guys to be enjoined in a manner sufficient to prevent the defendant from further violating the law, including preliminary and permanent injunctive relief. Well, how's that going to work? How's that going to work? I don't know how you stop them from doing that thing. It just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me how you're going to do this. So they want all this stuff here signed by the California Attorney General. You're like, wow, they really fucking did this? They really fucking did this, didn't they? Yes, they did. This is absolutely fucking bonkers. It's a First Amendment issue and a Second Amendment issue, but have fun getting a California court to agree with you. Have fun getting a California court to agree with you. Now, in response to this, Fuddbusters, he, as he says, he'd like to do a little memeing there. And he's, as he says, he told everybody to rise and grind, gamers on this. And yeah, here we go. This is Fuddbusters' response to all of this. And this is what he wrote. This is here. From the United States District Court in the Middle District of Orlando. Control Pew and Alexander Holiday. What are they going after? Well, they're going after the San Francisco attorney and the California Attorney General. And they're suing under a 1942 U.S.C. 1983 claim. Deprivation of rights of the... They're doing a 1983 action here, chat. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. So yes, they are going right after him. They are going right after him. Oh. So any Green Capture saying so any company that sells illegal guns in California internet can be gone after them by now. Weird logic. Yeah, if you're selling stuff on the internet and apparently it's legal in California, they can sue you for it, which makes no sense. Yes, they're going for the deprivation of rights and the color of law. It's going to be great. And we'll see about the memeing that comes back here, but show these guys some love. If you guys need anything from Control Pew or MAF Corporation, they would appreciate the help. I know they would. So just keep that in mind. You know, they're trying real hard out there, chat. They're trying real hard. Right now, if you want to help Fuddbusters to do stuff, let me see here. He had a thing up. He did say, let me see. Where did he put you know, he's you know, if you guys come out here, somebody said, how can I donate to the cause? Oh, I like some of these, yes. Lord Dianexus says shit on them niggas. Armjoy says to arms. But somebody said, where can you go? They said go to his Patreon and help him out there on his Patreon. You guys could join. You could join for free. You could toss in him some money there. Help him out where you can. Too many choices says, I gotta go play some video games. That's never a bad time. Never a bad choice. Cool stream, subscribed. Peace and love, people. Well, thank you. But yes, help him out there. Yes, patreon.com/Fuddbusters. I hate Patreon. I wish he had locals. Yeah, but a lot of people, like, remember, Patreon got out of hand, but Jack Conte and those guys got kind of taken out. So all the retardation that Patreon had has gone away and it's died off. So now Subscribe Star and locals, like, the impetus behind them is gone. So that is where we are with that. Let's see here. Where is where is Great Loaner for $5 or 5 months as I pray for the West Coast sinking in the Pacific? Well, yeah, I get it. Some people want that to happen. Oh, I did see that, Stephen Cooper. Thank you. The Great Loaner says, would it be feasible for gun owners in those cuck states to sue gun control orgs and the politicians they sponsor over this? They have deep pockets and deprive rights of people living there. I mean, you could try to sue them, but like you're suing like the Giffords campaign or Everytown USA for, you know, supporting anti-gun legislation. I mean, you'd think you could do it, but it's like, you know, the court's going to say like you're suing them because they did something, and that becomes a First Amendment thing. And then, you know, what is it? You know, that means like, would that mean the NRA could be sued at some point? I mean, it kind of sounds like they could based on that logic. So that's why I'm like a little not sure I want that outcome. But I appreciate your heart's in the right place. But thank you for $10. So Cody Wilson was just participating in libertarian activities. Oh no. Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah. That will be the next step the gun controllers will take next. Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. But for right now, it's not work. Like, that's not something that's happened. I think it'll be a lot tougher to sell. That'll be a lot tougher to sell. So. All right, guys. Moving on from there, we're moving back into the story of NBC's reporter Savannah Guthrie. Her mom, Nancy, is missing. Her mom, Nancy, has been missing for a while now. This was a lot of people suspected a kidnapping, but we don't know. We don't know what's happened. Once again, if you guys don't know what her mom looks like, this is her mom. That's an FBI chick with apparently some very tight pants. Now, the FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for the information here. You're saying it's Fargo? Yeah. Dirty Eric says, who really cares? Well, this part, it's not important. We're going to get to something. Who really cares? Okay, well. The FBI has released some information here about like a backpack a guy was wearing. And why do they bring this up? Because somebody showed up to Nancy Guthrie's house. And he was all dressed up. And he had a gun. And this was off her Google Nest camera. But here's the problem for her. And The Verge kind of explains this. This is the problem here. Why it was deleted doesn't mean it's gone. And this is all from her door camera that eventually gets covered up and disabled. Oh, God, I am not doing your fucking shitty little subscriptions, you fuckers. Okay, you know what? Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. Here we go. We'll just use here. Fuck you, Verge. We'll use NPR instead. How about that? So, this is Nancy Guthrie's house, which is God, you people out in Arizona, like everybody, all these houses look like haciendas a drug dealer would own. What is up with that holster? It's just an appendix carry. Yeah, it's called appendix carry. Anyways, yeah, some of this looks all sketchy. Like, it just, like, I get it. It's all scrubland, but it looks like you're all, like, you all look like you're poor in Arizona. They all look like they're poor. That's the north part of Tucson. It's very affluent. They look poor. This looks poor. I mean, this looks like it's in fucking, like, Guatemala or something. Oh. Keopathic says, it's called Pueblo style. You fucking snow pastafarian. Yeah, trust me, the houses look great if you've been there. Tons of rich homes. I understand that, but I don't mind having one-floor houses. It's just like all the brush and everything out here. It looks so garbage. It looks so garbage. It doesn't look poor when you're there. There's a lot more hills, I guess. It looks like they're in the third world. People Phobia says, I like how they just throw out houses wherever they fit. Yeah. So they point out that they got their hands on the door camera, the doorbell footage. So the doorbell had been, they said the doorbell camera had been removed, and then on February 1st, when Nancy was missing, the camera was disconnected. About a half hour later, the camera software detected motion. And normally they tell you, well, because you're not paid, the data gets overwritten. Well, yeah. But the FBI said the videos recovered from back-end data systems. He didn't provide details on it. You know what that means, chat? Just so you understand. What does all that mean? It's always recording. It's always recording. Remember, every electronic device you have is monitoring and surveilling you. Just because you're not paying for it doesn't mean they're not running it. Yeah, they store all your shit anyway, chat. Yup. Yup. And that's something that people just need to realize. They probably don't think about that. Yep. All that stuff is stored. All that stuff is stored. Meme Copium says, I wish Nancy went missing in Stranger Things. I don't. Once again, all I know about Stranger Things is the this is the only part I know about Stranger Things, like, is this meme. This is all I know about Stranger Things. She's wearing like the Chips Ahoy hat and she writes on a whiteboard. That's literally all I fucking know, so I don't get the joke. I don't get the joke. So, just saying. So they say, how could they retrieved it? Well, it's because it's still there. It's still there. But they point out previous collected data would continue to be stored. So Nancy's one of the main characters. I don't care that much. I was more making a point that I don't care. But they point out, what if a user doesn't pay for a subscription? Well, they allow you to keep the highlights. But if you don't have a subscription, that doesn't mean the data doesn't still get pushed up to the cloud, which it likely did. But Google, once it gets it and they realize there's no subscription, has no obligation to retain the data. But yet they do. Yet they do. Zap Brannigan says, I have a Shure SM 58 with a mute button. I found out if I crank all my gains, it still picks up. The NSA is always listening. Well, guys, it's like in Valkyrie when Tom Cruise is talking to the general and he unplugs the phone. Old school phones, you could listen if it was connected still. Wherever the fuck my phone is at right now. Okay, I guess it's not here. But wherever my phone's at, it's on still. If it has a battery and power connected to it, it's still working. My TV that's in our living room, it's off right now. It's still on. And it's listening. And it's got a camera. Don't think it doesn't. You know, like this camera right here. Unless I physically unplug the computer, even if it's off, that's still on. It's always on, chat. So, yes, headphones can act as microphones. Yes. So, let's see here. Is a kidnapping not a highlight, Das Boot? Well, that's funny. That's funny. Yes. Ask Siri where she is. I don't have an iPhone. I don't have iPhones out of principle. My PC camera is shut off in the BIOS. That's not an... All right, like that's not like unpreventable though. I mean, like, other than physically disabling that camera, there's no other way to guarantee your camera's off if it's like connected to your computer or if it's like in your laptop. For example, like when I worked in the prosecutor's office I was at, we had an air-gapped laptop for jurors to view things. And, you know, it's air-gapped. It's also the one, like, if somebody got charged with possessing child pornography, the defense attorney would come in and that's the computer that was set up. And you could bring in a pad and a paper to watch and take notes. But it was physically like the network card was ripped out of it. The ports were all epoxied in. And there was only like the CD drive. So, Yeah, as long as the power's plugged in, it's there. It's kernel level access is always on. My PC's camera shut off a piece of tape over the lens. Well, that's true, but that doesn't mean the camera can't still pick up sound. And, you know, maybe there's other cameras you don't know. Told Monkey says you have to watch CP. Yeah, I mean, well, if you're charging somebody with it, yeah. It's like if you get indicted for possessing cheese pizza, like I have to go like, what's their proof? So you have to go see it. You can't just take their word for it. So yes, as an attorney, you have to look at cheese pizza. If you're a prosecutor and you're getting ready to go to trial, you have to go look at cheese pizza. It's fucking nasty. It's fucking nasty. So cameras don't pick up sound. Okay, well, the camera's attached to the microphone and they're generally like near each other. So 12 Monkey says the jury has to watch CP. Yeah. If it goes to trial, how do you prove it? You can't just have the detective come up and say, yeah, I looked at it. It's two little kids fucking. Like, that doesn't work. Like, you can't just do that. That's not reliable. So. Yeah, the jurors have to watch it, see it as evidence. Yeah. Yep. Tim says, I'm good with that. Yeah, but that's... Sometimes these dudes take that shit to trial. It's a thing. It's a fucked up part of it. So. But anyways, yeah, the data is removed and restored in the cloud, but it can be deleted, overwritten eventually. But it's always there because nothing's really ever deleted, chat. And yes, it's kind of like with the, if they really want to do it. Yeah, your Roomba is a problem too. All of it is. Yep. 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 Now, moving on to some other stuff here. Need a palate cleanser after the story? Well, here you go. Out in Kenosha County. Yes, guys, remember the people that tried Kyle Rittenhouse? Well, after 2024, there was a new sheriff in town, Xavier Solis, an attorney for the Fight Back Foundation. Remember those guys who were involved in Kyle Rittenhouse's bond and all that shit? Remember all that money that came through and who was entitled to what money or whatever they were? Well, anyways, this guy became the Kenosha County DA. And guess what? They were using AI and they got caught using AI in the prosecutor's office. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So they used AI in response to a motion to dismiss. So good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So what happened? Well, it hallucinated and made false citations, which AI is prone to do. So, and it was a burglary case. Yeah. Anyways, this guy was just breaking into cargo portions of trailers, and he had done a lot there. They point out like the AI wasn't the only thing, but I'm sure that was a major part of it. But yes, he didn't say he used AI, which you have to disclose now. Courts actually make you disclose whether or not you used AI to work on your stuff. Even if you use AI-assisted tools, you have to acknowledge you're using them. So yeah, good job out there. Good job out there. But anyways, yes, he replaced Democrat attorney Mike Gravely. And he won in 2024. He ran as a Republican. Yeah. But yeah, Binger was gone pretty much. And if Binger's still there, Binger needs to go, but who knows? Who knows? So I wonder when Gravely retired to quit. 2024, he didn't run for re-election. Meme Copium says, do the courts need to disclose they are using AI to check if you're using AI? No. But as the one judge who claimed all the cases that Trump had defied court orders on, he created a list. The list was AI generated because there were multiple cases that had the same citations. Some of them didn't exist either. So, yes, there are instances of that. We talked about there was that case in Mississippi where the judge, a federal judge, had used AI to write an opinion. And it was withdrawn, and 2 days later, they came out with a new opinion. So, what about Lunchbox? I don't know if they're there either. I don't know if they're there. But yes, there are some times the judges have had problems. The judges have had problems in this one. Yes, there are things there, chat. Now, we're gonna get through. Yeah, we're gonna get to our other kind of funny. This is a funnier story here. This is something. If we get this will be a funny court case to cover, or trial to cover. But this is Susan Perry. She is alleged to have shot her husband in the chest in November. They claim that he had a bunch of amphetamines in his system and meth. Okay. So what happened? Well, she got charged with murder, and her probable cause statement has been released, and it's out there. And this is kind of funny. Be careful what you Google, chat. Be careful what you Google. So here's the said narrative. Here's the narrative on this one. So this gets good. It's good, and it's funny, and it's not like funny and weird. It's just funny. Ooh. Too thick. That's dummy thick. We're gonna make that about the same. So they showed up for a suicide attempt call, and they observed that the lady, Susan Perry, was kneeling on the floor, and they began providing aid to her husband, who had an apparent wound to the center of his chest, and that's where he was found dead. And so the detectives arrived. They found him laying on his back, with a hole in the center of his chest. Blood droplets were seen surrounding the stool, which is positioned in front of the table. And they took it as she said, what did she say? She heard a thud, which sounded like he had fallen. And she said she went in the office and saw him lying on his side with blood and called 911. You're like, okay. Erica Thorpe's his house lawn to die in the snow. Well, so what do? They conducted a phone download of their cell phones. Michelle's phone had several searches regarding how much her husband's wedding ring is worth, what to do if your husband wants a divorce and you have no money, and Google searched center mass shots. Center mass. In chat, center mass means like the center mass of the chest. Where, ironically, the guy was shot right in the middle of his chest. Yeah, she took the notes.
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Yeah, what was you thinking? Man? That Google is a snitch. So there you go, chat. It's just a coincidence. It's a hell of a coincidence. Hold on here, chat, 1 second. It's so weird. Our one cat that 2.0 showed before, the calico cat named Callie, it's in the litter box, and like I just changed it out today, and it'll sit in there for like 20 minutes, just pawn, and it gets annoying, and you have to say, "Thank you, Callie, you're done," and it'll go again. You have to be like, "Thank you, Callie," and the cat's like, "Oh, okay, you're happy with it," and she's like, "All right," and boop boop hops out, and you're like, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" Karen Reed did this too. Yes. Meme Copian says, what sand do you use in a litter box? We actually don't. We use silica. So we use like a not like silica. What is it called? Fuck. I don't know what they're called. Not in the box anymore. So yeah, we use 220 grit. No, we use different stuff. We use different stuff. But it works. It's not like that the sand or the clay stuff. It's 2.0. Are you out there? What do we use for cat litter? I forget, but is it like a desiccant? Yeah, kind of. So I forget what it's called, but whatever. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying it's not a silicate. It's something. It's not like sand. So, anyways, so guess what Michelle did on top of all of this? On limestone, that's the best. Or limestone and crystal meth, that's the best blend ever. Anyways, Michelle got re-interviewed at the police department, probably without a lawyer. She stated that her and Joe argued about him wanting a divorce. She had trouble sleeping, but stayed in her room until their daughter left for work around 10 o'clock in the morning. Michelle advised she and Joe were arguing in the hallway, and he began to walk away, but she followed. Notice she couldn't just leave it alone, chat. She couldn't just leave it alone. She couldn't just leave it alone. She advised Joe grabbed his firearm, was sitting on his stool. Michelle stated he was holding the gun normally, not pointing it at anyone. She stated she thought he may use it, so she grabbed the hold of the gun, and there was a struggle. And while she was holding the gun, it went off. Bullshit. She made several inconsistent statements about how long she delayed care, whether she attempted to provide aid at all. She also made inconsistent statements about where she placed the gun after there was a shot. Good fucking job there, chat. Good fucking job. Yes, brilliant work from this woman. That's exactly what you need to do here. This is how you get out of your criminal charges, is like this. So don't even Google thinking about committing murder, because you're going to get caught. On to this one here, chat. I thought this was very interesting. This is, people in the, there's a big push, and I think all cops, I want the Border Patrol, I want ICE, I want everybody. I want the FBI, all wearing body cams. I want them all to have body cams. I want every fucking cop to have a body cam. But what is the problem with that? Is there a downside to this? Yes. And, some people are now having concerns over it. It's like, no shit. There's no such thing as a free lunch. There's always a downside. They point out that these cameras could be used to feed protesters' faces into facial recognition software or to create a database. And it's like, duh. But I still want government oversight. Like, it's not free. CPS needs body cams. Yes, they do. But yes, the push to put body cameras on all ICE agents has a new problem. The technology will provide an avenue for mass surveillance. That's what you wanted. Like, this is what you get. But there's an outcry from privacy advocates that surveillance tools could be used. There are also calls for restrictions on how the body cameras can be used. I mean, that's nice. And if it turns out like how some states, license plate readers have to get deleted every so often, I mean, not every place is like that. I mean, some places they can basically hold on to it forever. So yeah, good stuff, huh? It makes you feel good in the inside, doesn't it, Chet? And it doesn't make you fucking nervous or panic about what's going on there. Erica says, can you FOIA those? I think for the most part you can. Robin Hood says this article is bullshit. No, people really are concerned, and I think it's a legitimate concern, but I mean, there's only so much there. You know, you want to make sure that there's documentation of everything. Well, now everything's documented. That's the problem. I want everything the cops do to be documented. Well, everything the cops do now is documented, including interacting with you. That is now documented, which you can't, like, you have to take the good with the bad. You have to take the good with the bad. Yes, you can buy all kinds of data, but then you tie it in with cameras and you have even more data together. So it is a thing. It is a thing. They want to try to prohibit tracking, creating, and maintaining databases of individuals. Think about how many times the NSA has gotten caught spying on Americans. And what happens? Has anyone ever gone to prison? Nope. Nope. So it doesn't fucking matter. Let's not act like this is going to do anything. Let's not like they're going to do anything here. But yeah, I agree. Cameras on all law enforcement is worth the risk. I agree. It's worth the risk. So, you know, and one of the people who wants to ban on the agents using facial recognition also supports the limits. And he says, obviously we want people to be wearing body cameras, but we want the restrictions placed on what the information will be used for, which doesn't mean shit. Like, what are you going to do? He says, we don't want it to be in turn used as a way of coming back and suppressing free speech. Nothing's free, buddy. Ain't nothing free. Robert Heinlein told us there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. So it's all just garbage. You got to be careful what's going to happen. You got to be careful what's going to happen. So they said the agency said his bodies are not equipped with facial recognition. That's not like, okay, this is them being retarded, because you know what you do? You take, like, and the way some of these body cameras are set up, they don't have to actually, like, plug them into anything. Like, when they come back in, they automatically start transmitting data. There are a lot of police car, like, dash cams and in-car recorders. They have that set up as soon as they pull into, like, their Sally Port or whatever they park at. It immediately establishes an upload link, and it just, all the data goes out and protected. Well, you take all that data, you can run that through a facial recognition software. The body camera doesn't have to do it, and that's a bit of a retarded argument. So, yeah, flock cameras are already doing it. Yep, they are. They point out, though, the policies on cameras prohibit agents from using body cameras solely for recording people in First Amendment activities. But yes, guess what? You're going to be protesting them while they do their things. But yeah, I want them to have cameras, and I'm willing to deal with that. They claim, though, there's a lawsuit where an agent told a legal observer they were using facial recognition and the body camera was recording. I think some of these cops are bullshitting people. I think they're bullshitting people. Quippy is saying this is bullshit. They want to be able to attack ICE and turn their camera on when ICE responds. I agree, but I also want the cops wearing cameras. So Robin Hood says the resolution isn't high enough, the bandwidth isn't high enough, don't make me argue with you. What the hell are you talking about? So, yeah, and somebody's saying if I was the ICE agent, I'd be fucking with them too. Well, yeah. Or maybe they really are. Like, it's not like, maybe he meant we are using facial recognition stuff, but not right here, right now. But at the office, we have a database that's running facial recognition shit. You know, we upload the data to a cloud storage, and in Washington, we got people who are computers who are crunching all the information, and AI is running it. So it's an option. It is a thing out there. It is a thing out there, guys. Just, be smart about it. Be smart about it. And now on to the final thing tonight. This is weird. So, remember, guys, in Fulton County, there were a bunch of boxes seized, like 650 boxes were seized by the FBI. Hold on, chat. I think we might have Bonbon here. She's like, all right, pick me up. And I just walk after her and she starts like walking away. So, oh, she didn't want to go. So there you go. Sorry, guys. Anyway, 600 boxes were taken away by the FBI from the Fulton County, Board of Elections, and the search warrant application has been unsealed. It was filed yesterday and revealed. And remember how I told you guys, like, nothing's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. So, anyways, when I first read this, Hugh Raymond Evans, I thought it was going to be like Hugh G. Rection or something. Anyways, there's a attachment here. We can see the attached affidavit. And now remember, guys, here's how you do a warrant. You have to start off by saying, what evidence are we looking for? Where do we think we're going to find? But then you have to say particularity. Well, where are we going? And what are we looking for? Okay, well, where are we going? The property to be searched is the Fulton County Election Hub. Okay, well, where is it at? And then you list it. Now, if you had to do a house, you'd say, like, it's a house. It's blue with, it's light blue with dark blue shutters. It's got a white picket fence out in front of it, and it's got a 2-car garage. Like, you might put a bunch of stuff out there. You might say the front door is red. So that is an option here. So I talk about attachment B, the things to be seized. Remember, particularity for the place, and then the thing you're looking for. So what are they looking for? We talked about this already. All physical ballots from the 2020 election. Absentee ballots to include envelopes, advance, all this stuff. The tabulator tapes for every voting machine used in Fulton County. The zero tapes, the opening tapes, the closing tapes, and all the tabulator tape printed from a voting machine. All ballot images from the original ballot count. All voter rolls from the 2020 election. And they want to review authorized electronic storage media and electronically stored information. And now they get into the affidavit itself. We've already talked about a lot of this. So he's part of the FBI. He's part of the Hotlanta Field Office's Public Corruption Squad. Now, here's the thing. He's an FBI agent. I've been a special agent to the FBI since December 6, 2020, when I entered the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. Remember, that's where the FBI trains. It's also a Marine Corps base. And they say, while I've been stationed at Quantico, I received extensive training on various violations of federal law. And I'm assigned to the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Squad. Prior to being employed by the FBI, I was a licensed attorney in good standing with the Alabama State Bar. I was in private practice for 4 years. There are, in chat for the FBI, there are FBI agents with law degrees, there are accountants, and an agent is an agent is an agent is an agent. But there are a lot of FBI agents with professional degrees. I just thought I felt Bonbon run by me. So he goes through here and sets all this up. The jurisdiction, we've already, we're going to talk about this. So the probable cause. So following the November 2020 election, there were many allegations of electoral impropriety in Fulton County, Georgia. No shit, among other things. Oh, you guys, did Kick freeze up or something? Because it's the chat's not running over there. We'll cover that ag. Nathan Wade going in front of the Georgia Senate hearings for the Trump cases. We'll definitely cover that. That'll be good. That'll be good to cover. Depending on what time it's, because I had to pick up 2.0 at the airport at like 11. And then I know like laid back law is at noon. And then I get my hair cut at like 3:45. So maybe a little earlier in the evening we'll start up what's going on and do Nathan Wade a little earlier in the night. I don't know yet. We'll figure something out. Don't trim the wings, thank you. They say this warrant application is part of an FBI investigation when the improprieties were intentional acts that violate federal criminal laws. The criminal investigation originated from a referral sent by Kurt Olson, the presidentially appointed director of election security and integrity. Okay, well, let's see where this goes. They point out the statute's retention. They point out that Title 52 USC 2701 requires election officers to retain election records for up to 22 months following an election for federal office. So we're way past 22 months. So how does anybody what's going on? And they say it makes it a crime to knowingly and willfully deprive the residents of a state of a fair and impartially conducted election process. Okay. This is also through the procurement, casting, or tabulation of ballots that are known to be materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent. Now, what do they talk about here? So they are presently focused on the following deficiencies or defects within the 2020 election. So the tabulator machines used by Fulton County are designed to create and save a scanned image of each ballot. Fulton County admitted it does not have scanned images of all the 528,777 ballots counted during the original count or the 527,925 ballots counted during the recount. I don't know if that's actually correct or not. I know there's a bunch of these that may have been dealt with previously. So, yeah. They're saying Fulton County's confirmed that during the recount, some ballots were scanned multiple times. Okay, and they said during the risk limiting audit, auditors counted the votes by hand, reported vote tallies for batches inconsistent with the actual votes within the batch. The state's performance review board reported, and the investigators confirmed inaccurate batch tallies from the limiting audit. Yeah, I think some of these have already been kind of said, no, this didn't happen. No, this didn't happen. The auditors assisting in the risk limiting audit reporting counted purported absentee ballots that had never been creased or folded, as would be required for the ballot to be mailed to the voter and for the ballot to be returned in the sealed envelope requiring the voter's signature. So they're pointing out here, and I think this one even got addressed too. But they're saying, like, well, there was no folds because we send them out in, like, small envelopes. And they say on the deadline report, Fulton County reported a recount total of 511,000 ballots, 17,434 fewer than the original. The following day, Fulton County then reported a total of 527,000 ballots counted. And they said the ballots were counted 3 times. They say for purpose of clarity, the affidavit uses the following terms. The original count is the original count. The risk limiting audit refers to the hand count in mid-November 2020. And then the recount refers to the machine completed recount in December 2020. Okay. And they say if these deficiencies were a result of intentional action, it would be a violation of federal law. Yeah, I don't think they were, regardless of whether failure. And notice that even you didn't retain the records and the of a vote was outcome determinative or not. So even if it doesn't matter, you still can't fuck with the records. So they want to seize election records to include paper ballots, images, and absentee ballots to take a look at what's going on. And they point out that what's going on here, missing ballot and images. Well, so a Georgia resident was a chemical engineer and began conducting research and analysis following November 2020. As part of his analysis, reviewed images of the released absentee ballot images, and he discovered a number of ballots from the recount did not reconcile with the number of ballots cast. Come on, Bonbon. Bonbon, come on. Come here. Come on. You're like down by my feet. Come here, dude. Come on. All right, fine. I'm not going to chase you around anymore. Jesus. So he discovered the number of ballots did not reconcile with the number of ballots cast. Yeah, and he said there were 17,852 missing ballot images. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy's shit got called out. I think this already just got dealt with. This guy's been dealt with, though. The errors include duplicated or misidentified batch entries and incorrect batch entries. Well, how the fuck did this guy get the information anyway to know that, Chitty said she's a lady, not a dude. Okay. How did this lady get access to all the information? That doesn't make any sense to me. When the complaint was filed, the Secretary of State's office did the investigation. The investigation was presented in May 7th of 2024. And the state election board issued a letter of reprimand to Fulton County, and in lieu of a referral to the Attorney General, sought to enter in a memorandum of understanding between Fulton County and Georgia Secretary of State about this. So some of these, I could have sworn we dealt with some of these before. Like these claims people have made, and it was like, oh, we're almost there. We're almost there. This is it. This is it. And you're like, are we really though? Are we really? Huh. I don't know. Are we really? It's fishy, but which way is it fishy? Yes, this is the Fulton County warrant. Yeah, the affidavit here. And they talk about witness number 2 is a Republican appointed member of the Georgia election board. Was an OB prior to serving on the election board. Has served on it since February and March of 2022. Prior to 2021, Senate runoff, witness who had not worked an election. As a member of the state election board, witness 2 was tasked with listening to the investigator reports with the other members of the board and decide if there was sufficient evidence of a violation. So what happened? After witness 2 received the complaint, she requested ballot images to review from the Secretary of State. Witness 2 said the Secretary of State would not provide the images. Instead, she would have to review them in person at the Secretary of State's office. And it says for the next several weeks, witness 2 went to the Secretary of State's office to review the ballot images. Okay. They began to review them. They weren't certain the images she reviewed were from election night or the recount. She said she got a flat laptop with 2 flash drives in it. There were 2 notes. One contained her name and a password, and another with instructions not to remove the flash drive. The other note stated Vince must have miscounted only 15,400 ballot images, short of 17,700 by 2,310. She didn't have a copy of the note, but wrote what the note said. I think some of this stuff has been already tossed. Pete saying we should be Clyde maxing. Let me see if I can get him. Hey, Clyde, come here, buddy. Come here, Clyde. Come here, Clyde. Clyde is hiding in a blanket right now. Yeah, Amanda is saying TLDR is Trump getting extra term. No. I can't see I can't see this actually turning anything relevant here. Like if this all happens, what does this get us? Like, that's my bigger question here. Like, what do you get? It's not like he gets a new term. She said she knows several things about the images right away, that the secure hash algorithm files were missing. There is that every ballot image or TIFF file should produce a corresponding SHA file, a SHA file. It shows that it had been modified. She stated she had no prior expertise in reviewing SH or SHA files prior to joining the election board. Well, that's kind of important. You know what the fuck you're looking at. I agree. Trump, like, the idea is Trump won Fulton County and would have won Georgia then. Yeah, but I mean, at this point, like, what? Like, okay, so? I mean, that's the thing I want you guys to just explain to me as I blow my nose. What is that? Okay, so, yes, we found out that he was right and we have proof. Does that mean, like, we're going to say what? Like, we just automatically are going to put J.D. Vance in right now? No. No, we're not doing that. Is really my point. There's no remedy. Like, okay, great. Does this just mean, like, we get to say, like, by force, we're going to just have it, we're not having an election the next time? So, I mean, that's one way to look at it. It's like either you give us 2028 or we riot. I don't know. Is that the option? So, P-Dub is saying the best you can do is invalidate the Biden pardons. Can't do any of that. Can't do any of that. Those pardons are all gone. They're presumed valid. They're out the door. They're never coming back. We can't undo the Biden presidency. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. So, you know, they go through all these people here and they talk about that, like, they talk about the director of elections for the Georgia Secretary of State. And they said they were not aware of physical ballots not matching the number of ballot images. Witness 4 said a discrepancy like that would be problematic, but did not know if anyone went back and checked. They said during the hand count, they did not audit for issues like image discrepancies. He said the images are as duplicates. It would be more concerning if there were discrepancies between the physical ballots and voter count. And he says the concern is less about the images and more about the voter ballots and voter count. Which, okay, I guess makes sense. I guess that makes sense that we're not worried about the pictures. So that's why I just, like, you just look at this and you're like, what does this actually get us here? Patty says it shows the truth, but I don't know if it does show the truth. I don't know if this actually shows any truth. They talk about duplicated ballots. There's a data analyst who reviewed and analyzed the original images. He said he downloaded the data online from ZebraDuck and believed it was from an open records request from Fulton County, but was not positive as he was not part of acquiring the data. So this guy's acquiring the data second or third hand. He doesn't even know. And it's like, well, okay, here we go. And it's like, you're like, whoa. Like, if you don't know where the hell it came from, how do you know? Yeah, I was going to say, I thought this stuff had already been, like, all these things said it wouldn't have mattered or wouldn't have changed it. That's what I thought, too. It shows the truth. I mean, does it? Because I think some of these things were found to be nonsense earlier. You know, and it's kind of like, you know, when they had that guy who was like, oh, I trucked all the ballots around, then they found out he had, like, all kinds of loony issues on his own. Like, that was the problem. Every time somebody came out, they were a fucking nutter of their own right. Yes, if you can prove there's fraud, what the fuck is the point of elections? That's fine, but, like, you know, are you prepared to go all the way at that point? Are you prepared to say, fine, we're going to not have an election and we're just going to just take over? I mean, because that's what you're saying. And if that's what you want to do, by all means, do it. But you're going to have to do it. Because if you're going to take this position then that this was all garbage and they were rigged, okay, cool. Well, that leaves you one choice. That leaves you with one choice. Just something to think about there. It proves the people deemed conspiracy theorists were right. Yeah, but yeah. Garrett says a pretty binary conclusion. I'm just saying, yeah, well, I mean, it is pretty binary. Like, there's not, like, are you expecting the Bolsheviks to all of a sudden go, yeah, you're right, we were wrong, let's all get together and make this work? No. So it kind of leaves you the binary choice. It's really left to the binary choice. You know, they talk about they use computer programs to look for duplicates. They look for stray marks or the unique markings. And he says, based on the total number of reported votes cast, there were images missing in the files he reviewed. However, none of the missing images were from hand-completed ballots. The only missing images were from in-person computer-generated ballots, which contained a QR code. So there's ballots that were garbaged in Atlanta at the in-person places. So they talk about in the QR codes generated reflect the unique combination of all the votes cast on the ballot. In other words, if two voters made identical votes down the ballot, the QR codes could be identical for both voters. That's interesting. You think it would not be that way? Eridudu says, so take that dumbass attitude next time one of your clients is accused. Shake my head. Your libertarian is showing. Not really. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to do it, there's really only so many options left. So, Garrett says there's a path of reform supported by the populace. How do you think that reform will be forced? It'll be forced at gunpoint. And will be ensured with gunpoint. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's no such thing as a free lunch. This will not come at no cost. This will come at a very, very high cost, regardless of what you want. And they say for that reason, the images of in-person ballots are inconsequential for review. Yes, force is the only thing that matters. Like, this is one of the things, like, I agree with Andrew Wilson. You know, without force or the ability to have force, you have no rights. So, we're opting for the option you're talking about. This nation was made at gunpoint, and that's fine. I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, I get it. I am high on sandwiches. I wish. I wish. My God, I've got like the nastiest boogers right now. I gotta blow my nose again here. Hold on, chat. I mean, I've only done this 3 times already. My paper towel is tearing up my nose. Anyways, he talks about all these. He said there were 17,852 digital images missing from the recount data set. He concluded it was suspicious. He says, based on his review, what he observed could be intentional, but was not partisan. He explained that by adding the ballots, Donald Trump received 10% more than his average in Fulton County. This indicated that the introduction of duplicate ballots was intended to make the recount numbers much more than affect the outcome of the election. I mean, are you sure? Like, how do you know it's intentional? Where? So anyways, they talk about witness number 6, a special former investigator, said that the complaint of duplicate ballots was investigated by tallying ballots by hand for the race. No further investigation was conducted once investigators learned that 40% of the duplicated ballots cast a vote for Trump. And they said the investigators concluded it was not intentional misconduct. His nose is bruised, yeah. Neti pots are weird. They make me feel weird. And they're saying witness 5 found similar issues of ballots being introduced during the recount to make the numbers match those obtained during the original count in other counties throughout Georgia. And they say in response to all this, the Fulton County Director of Registration and Elections, who took over following 2020, admitted that duplication of ballots may have occurred, but indicated if it did occur, it happened due to human error. It's like, is that really believable? Do you really believe that, chat? I don't think we do. So, Garrett says, don't you have allergies? Maybe try running a doggy motel. All the dogs we have don't shed. Lainey doesn't shed, Clyde doesn't shed, and Bonbon doesn't shed. So we're all right. So now I talk about the tabulator tapes. They're from each machine once the machines are closed. It's like how many votes were received on that machine, how many total ballots were counted. And they say that these one of the issues is when the tabular tapes are not signed into election officials not preserving the ballot images. And they said the tabular tape should match the number of physical ballots. The tape is what is used as the holy grail for the final count. And they point out that the state law requires tabulation tapes be printed from each machine at poll closing. These must be signed off by the poll manager and 2 witnesses. No, I did see a bunch today about this guy. Clay Parikh has worked in the cybersecurity field. And he says that due to his background, he's often asked to review data related to technical questions on voting machines. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't sound like bullshit. Right now, he's a special government employee, which means he's a temporary contractor with some pretty significant ability to do things. You're like, I don't understand it. What, a Chinese lady who makes Italian food? Wow. But he's permitted to work for 130 days as a special employee in the executive branch. He says he reviewed the tabulator tapes. He just said that they were missing for some machines. And of the 138 closing tapes that were provided, only 16 accounted for the 300,000 ballots. In his review, he identified one tabulator that was used to close out 15 machines from 12 different locations. And they say, in addition, poll closing time and reported times on several closing tabulator tapes were not close enough. And they believe someone had manipulated the times on the reports. Like, well, I don't know how you do that. This is just, how do we fix it? I don't know how we fix it, Air Doodoo. I mean, there are options. Like, we could start talking about Fed posting if you want to. I'm not sure I encourage that idea right now. That's a bit of an, like, do you want to go down that road? But I mean, a lot of this stuff, like, some of these things, like the tabulator tape stuff, I'm pretty sure it had already been sussed out. So this is a lot of rehashing things that have come around before. It's a lot of rehashing of old stuff. So I don't know why we're doing, like, I don't know what the point of this is. Yeah, okay, and it's, is tapes not matching, I worked is not matching total counts is common or not common. And as 100% of society fraud, most people should not peruse it due to judges' lack of desire to overturn. Did I see Ben Shapiro with the FACE Act? Hold on here. Did I see Ben Shapiro's interview about the FACE Act? No. I'm sure that was all cucky. George Bemke saying, no Fed posting, you'll have to negotiate peacefully with the pedophiles. Well, no, it's like either we're going to do it or not do it. Do it or not do it. The way you fix it is to make sure your larger GOP has a large war chest and good lawyers willing to take these cases, as most judges are willing to overturn election. I stay still so times that it doesn't make me think my stream froze. Well, I could do like all the anxious, like drug-addled meth bouncies if you want, but I just don't do that. I just don't do that. Hold on, one more. So, he says that this showed memory cards were removed from the original tabulator, put in another tabulator to print out the closing tabulator's tapes. That doesn't sound like a good idea when you just keep using the same card to shut all the machines down. He says the protective counter is similar to an odometer. It counts the number of ballots tabulated in that machine's lifetime. And he says comparing the changes in the protective counters to the closing tapes helps ensure the integrity of the tabulation. And he says that 5 protective counters from the same unit were identical, and that some of the reported ballots exceeded the protective counter number. And they said this is indicated to show that no ballots were ever scanned on these machines, and that the numbers generated from these ballots were done by placing an unencrypted memory card into the unit. It's like, this would have allowed an opportunity for the tabulation to be tampered with. I don't see how there was any of this. I don't see how there was any of this. Just jerk off under the desk when knowing you're not frozen, right? Or however the hell he did it, I don't know. I don't remember anymore. I find it interesting every lawyer I've ever known is Jewish or Catholic. I mean, sorry. So I just don't understand. I could have sworn some of this has already been sorted out here. That none of this is new. But the state election board is saying 315. Okay, this is where it gets to the new stuff. Okay, that in December of 2025, that 315,000 ballots were not properly signed. Okay, well, there you go. Yeah, all this really says is it was an unsecure point, not that it was used. Also, why we shouldn't have tech for people to get confused over in this process at all. I agree. Why don't we just fucking paper ballots? We don't have to worry about this shit. So, I agree, Bob. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Even if you're in the deepest red district, there's an 87% chance your entire election operations are run by left-wingers because, yeah, that is true. That is true. People don't volunteer to go work a polling location. Republicans don't. And you should. Like in 2020, I worked the polls. Holy shit, that was a long day and an annoying day. I almost wanted to kill myself. And you see how stupid people in your area are because, like, people walk up, it's like, I don't know how to do this. Or they completely ruin what the ballots are working on. And you're just like, when you look at how bad they messed it up. But yes, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. So, the fifth estate must usurp the fourth estate. Well, there's a lot of issues there. They talk about the pristine ballots. They say when you do an absentee ballot, it's returned either by mail or drop box. It must be sealed inside 2 envelopes with an authenticated signature. The ballot must be folded to fit into the envelope. A pristine ballot is a ballot that has no indications that it's ever been folded. So some of these I don't know how these ones were explained away, but as it pertains to pristine ballots, the absentee ballots look different than in-person ballots. Yeah, they generally do. And there's no reason to have a pristine absentee ballot with no folds. When there are, you don't mind if working at the poll as you're coming home. Oh my God. But no, this is just, I don't understand. Some of this stuff doesn't make sense. They had this guy, this poll worker talking about the risk limiting audit, the second count. That says, due to the election being so close, it was decided a full hand count would be conducted. Boxes of ballots that have broken security seals. Well, why were they broken? Who broke them? She was told by somebody that it did not matter. Well, it might not, depending on what happened, but we need to know. Count Picula says, if someone says, I don't know how to do this, I always help them. But I think we need to make it a law that if you admit that we throw out your ballot, everyone should have the right to vote. Yeah, there's a lot of things like where I was like, how the fuck did you manage? Like the one time the person they had to do a provisional ballot, and I'm walking around like doing stuff. This back in 2020, so I wasn't as fat. Har. And the guy's like, sir, can you help me? And I said, hey, what's up, man? What's your question? And he starts going through stuff, and I'm like, and I'm just like, holy shit! How did you come up with this? Like, it just made no sense. Made no fucking sense. They were broken for the recount, and sadly, that's when most of the shenanigans happened. Yeah. So, what I don't understand is why is it wrong to watch the people who are watching the ballots when they start blocking out the windows? Oh, I agree. In Michigan, where they did that, shouldn't have happened. Provisional ballots are completely illegal and should be outlawed. In some states, maybe, but I can see in other places it's not. I mean, it all depends on what you're willing to allow. Try to figure out if that person's allowed to vote. Yeah. Basket Vader says it just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense.
It just don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense. These ballots had not been folded, and they said 107 were labeled as absentee, but were too clean to be absentee. And she said the texture felt different from all the other ballots and bubbles that were all filled in. So, okay, and she's claiming these are like printed ballots that were thrown in the mix, which, yeah, I get it. Like, all kinds of retarded shit happened in Atlanta. So, yeah, they blocked out the windows and not allowed. That was in deep blue Philly. The local authorities are not going to stop them. Well, they did all kinds of shit at Philly, but they did the window blocking in Detroit, I thought. So, yes, keep in mind the average IQ in the United States is 97. Yeah. They observed what were stacks of ballots being handled outside of security cameras views. She couldn't see what was printed on the ballots. She didn't know where they came from. And then 2 witnesses worked together and they recalled the 107 ballots. And they look like that selections have been made with a stamp, which, you can't stamp your way through it. And they also said they stated 2 females who were revoting ballots. They were having to revote the ballot because the original ballot was not being accepted by the machine. So you try to run through the machine, it's like, nope. So what do? Well, you revote. And the paper they're using was different than the original ballot. And she did not know why these votes were being revoted now and not during the original count. I don't know. I don't know the answer there. The point about texture is true. Most places have paper ballots on a unique paper. Oh, yeah. No, you can definitely tell instantly what a fake ballot is. So the textures were redundant. No, I mean, it's kind of like money. Money has its own unique feel that nothing else could feel. So they said had the ballots audited by 8 and 9 been duplicated, they would have been marked as such, but they're saying they weren't marked that way. And they talk about witness 4, who was the election director, said there would likely be thousands of different ballot combinations. He explained if a coworker wanted to take an absentee ballot, change a vote, they would have to produce another ballot. He said if someone was able to get a hold of a blank ballot, then it could be possible. And they say that, the judge did not think it feasible that someone could tamper with absentee ballots. To show you how many people are in the room. He said it would take a tremendous amount of organization secrecy. He said there's no way to determine if someone within the Prosecutor County votes substituted fictitious ballots for real ballots, or if the ballot totals match the number of voters accounted for in absentee ballots. I mean, that's money feel good. Yeah. Calpicula is saying if the machines start rejecting ballots, it's a red flag. Well, Well, I don't know if there are issues with like the ballot being crunched up or scrunched up or something. So who knows? Who knows? And they point out that excuse me. Now they say witness 4 was not aware of any discrepancy between voters counted and ballots counted, which, okay, well then that kind of defeats some of these narratives here. And he says that there would be pristine ballots in every election. He says the new pristine ballot would be the ballot created and used to count that vote, the final vote. Yes, we are going to locals right after this, chat. I just don't see how, chat, there's anything new. They said if someone were to sneak in fraudulent ballots, the number of ballots would not be equal. In addition, he did not know someone would get a hold of a ballot because there were not extra ballots sitting around. This is just... They talk about one of the Fulton County commissioners, used to be a poll worker. So they went from working the poll in 2020 to running the county. God, I'm sure they feel thrilled when they had to deal with as far as this goes. I'm just, it's asked, prior lectures asked to assist with logic and accuracy testing. And that's the pre-election testing where ballots are tabulated to ensure the machines work correctly. And they said while doing the testing, she was assigned to the test ballots and run through the machines. And there were stacks of paper to use as test ballots. She states she could have printed any ballot she wanted. Well, there you go. And they say that they witnessed individuals who were printing random ballots. And she was able to rip up some of the ballots, but she was not able to release. She's not sure the reason they were printing. And it says while she was in the warehouse conducting the test, she stated machines with ballots came in from an early voting location. And it says her belief was these were actual voted ballots. She said these ballots were removed. They were removed and then left unattended for a period of time before they were gathered. And she did not know how a person could possibly inject fraudulent absentee ballots into the absentee ballot process. That would be really hard to do there. That would really be hard to do there. And then there's the Seven Hills Strategies request. They say that, the report found that the absentee process were extremely sloppy and replete with chain of custody issues. They said during the second audit, there were chain of custody issues, ballots left unattended, unsealed bags. And they did, and their auditors didn't record serial numbers on the ballot bags. And they say the report found that the account, different types of ballots have been mixed together for storage. And this had caused additional rounds of scanning because the wrong ballots were scanned on 2 separate occasions. So. Okay, so T saying TLDR, the amount of fraud staggering. It's because no one from our side gets involved. But doing this 10 years and the GOP won't challenge because they know we have no witnesses. Well, I've been involved. I go to do some of the polling stuff, and I make myself available if lawsuits need to be filed, but nothing's been filed so far. So they say ballots were stored in boxes, no precinct information. This became an issue when they had to retrieve batches that had been overlooked. And it became an issue in trying to ascertain because they both have been named. They have the same name on it. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So everybody in this got failed, and it's just not clear what they wanted out of this. I mean, there's just nothing there. My buddy, they say one person is a witness if you had 20 Dem workers and 1 GOP worker. The case is dismissed. Ask me how I know. Yeah. I sound sick or tired. No, I just got really tired all of a sudden at the end here. I'm sorry, guys, about that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of these things I thought were debunked. Some of them sound new, but I just don't know how they got a judge sign off on all that. But yeah. Well, we'll see if this leads to anything, but I'm just telling you right now, guys, probably nothing ever happens o'clock. If it doesn't happen, I mean, then obviously, yeah, great. We got it fixed. Yay. But I'm not having faith that it will happen. So with that said, chat, we are going to wrap this up for tonight. We got 3 hours. God, we went way too long. We are going to head over to potentiallycriminal.locals.com. We're going to do the promo code for 1 month Ice Storm. And I'll see you guys over there. I think we got everything. Yes, trust the plan. Well, there's that too. Trust the plan. Bob says, you literally stream yourself sleeping. I think the phone listening is not a big problem at this point. Thank you, Bob. Stephen Cooper says, my sister also can't leave anything alone. Well, such is life. And then Amon Rezu for wide sob. Thank you. Thank you. So. Nothing got debunked. Are you sure any of this stuff, like, it just got said, like, that's not how it happened? The news made up a story saying settlement was debunked. Okay, well. No, everybody should volunteer to poll watch. You should go do it. It's a good thing. It's a good, healthy thing. It's a base thing to do. So, all right. Anyways, chat, here we go. We're going to wrap this up. And just remember till next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you Google about how to kill your husband, like, then you're probably guilty. So don't do that. Don't do that tonight, chat. You'll be fine. Just don't do that.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the